The articulated steering is a very characteristic feature, good to drive very tight corners. The two-stage belt drive results in a 1:9 steering ratio. It requires very little force to steer and very little force to keep the direction, even on bumpy ground. The steering wheel could be located very close to the vertical hinge by using two belts with similar but not identical length. The cardan joint on the steering column is 3D printed. It allows to have a tilted steering wheel. The cutter tilts together with the pendulum front axle. It follows the slope of the ground this way. I replaced the Infento twist throttle by a €7 foot throttle from eBay. For reversing, there is a switch at the steering column. Thanks to a 3D printed 13-teeth belt sprocket, the ride is slow but has enough torque to drive through the meadow. The cutting height can be fixated in 3 different positions. There is an extra high 4th position for driving without cutting. The 2-wheel drive with differential and knobby wheelbarrow tires offers very good traction, even on a slope. I took an ordinary gasoline-powered brush cutter for the Ride-on-Mower project. It had to be as compact as possible to fit onto the front end. The long shaft had to make place for a much shorter one, and I had to build a bracket that would clamp the cutter to an Infento profile. First, I removed the motor, the cutter and the hand throttle from the shaft. The bracket was made of a massive piece of beechwood. The outer tube of the shaft was made from an extruded aluminium profile. It had to have a large center bore for the rotating shaft. The inner shaft was made from steel. Its ends had to be square to transmit the torque from the motor to the cutter. Since I had no milling machine for this job, I used a bench grinder instead. Finally, it was time to assemble all parts. The hand throttle was replaced very soon by a bicycle grip shifter and a kill switch to have both hands free for steering.